Hello. This video is about social media interesting facts you need to know in 2022. 1. 10% of the world's population will be wearing clothes connected to the internet. Shoppers are buying more stuff and companies are making more money, but fewer people are working, and it's a sign of where the economy is headed. The number of retail workers fell by 20,000 in November, according to recent data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The number of workers continues to fall while consumers are still spending more than ever. These shifts to the retail sector show how business is adapting. It's using fewer workers. 2. ESA and NASA will try to divert an asteroid out of its orbit. ESA and NASA will try to smash an asteroid out of its orbit in 2022. The test mission will see how much we can deflect an asteroid by hitting it with a spacecraft. The odds of you personally getting killed by an asteroid are not that high. About 1 in 75,000 seems to be a reasonably accurate number based on available data. The thing about asteroids, though, is that while it's very unlikely that Earth is going to be hit by one capable of doing significant damage, if it does happen, it's going to trigger bad times for a lot of people, millions, if not billions. That 1 in 75,000 means that you're almost twice as likely to die from a globally destructive asteroid impact as you are from either an earthquake or a lightning strike. Does this mean we should panic? I mean, sure, go ahead if you'll feel better afterwards. But really, what it means is this: if we can agree that it makes sense to allocate resources towards reducing the risk of people getting killed by things in proportion to the likelihood of those things actually occurring, then asteroid detection and intervention is definitely worth our attention. Probably more so than some other things, like terrorism. But I digress. 3. Compliance period for the U.S. Clean Power Plan begins. The Clean Power Plan sets standards to reduce carbon dioxide (CO2) emissions by 32% from 2005 levels by 2030. These cuts represent a further 9% reduction to those announced in the proposed rule issued last year. The plan proposes interim and final target rates of CO2 emissions for each state, and includes guidelines for the state's development, submittal, and implementation of plans to reduce emissions. Each target assumes how much a state could reduce emissions using 3 carbon-reducing measures, or building blocks, which the EPA has identified as the best system of emission reduction under Section 111 of the Clean Air Act. Each state is required to develop and implement a plan to ensure that the power plants in that state, either individually, collectively, and possibly in combination with other measures, achieve both the interim CO2 emissions performance rates over the period of 2022 to 2029 and final CO2 emission performance rates, rate-based goals or mass-based goals by 2030. 4. All new car models will now have automatic braking by default. It's an exciting time for vehicle safety, said U.S. Transportation Secretary Anthony Fox. By proactively making emergency braking systems standard equipment on their vehicles, these 20 automakers will help prevent thousands of crashes and save lives. It's a win for safety and a win for consumers. The automakers represent 99% of the U.S. auto market, meaning automatic emergency braking (AEB) will be standard on virtually all new light-duty cars and trucks with a gross vehicle weight of up to 8,500 pounds, within 6 years. AEB will be standard on virtually all trucks with a gross vehicle weight between 8,501 pounds and 10,000 pounds, beginning no later than September 1, 2025, NHTSA said. NHTSA estimates that the agreement will make AEB standard on new cars 3 years faster than could be achieved through the formal regulatory process. During those 3 years, according to IIHS estimates, the move is expected to prevent 28,000 crashes and 12,000 injuries. Automatic emergency braking systems detect an impending forward crash with another vehicle in time to avoid or mitigate the crash. The systems initially alert the driver to the impending impact to allow them time to take corrective action to avoid it. If the driver doesn't respond fast enough to avoid the accident, the AEB system will automatically apply the brakes to help prevent or reduce the severity of a crash. 5. U.S. has issued first U.S. passport with non-binary gender option. Government systems update to reflect this change as early as this year. Likelihood, 90%. The U.S. State Department has issued the first U.S. passport with the gender designated as X, a step toward making a third gender option widely available for non-binary, intersex, and non-gender conforming applicants, the department announced on Wednesday. The X gender marker will be open to all routine passport applicants once we complete the required system and form updates in early 2022, according to a statement by State Department spokesman Ned Price. The department last summer announced it would add the option, and already allows applicants to select which gender they would like to have on their passport even if it does not match the identification they are using as their supporting department. No medical certification is required for a change in passport gender designation. 6. The astrologer also spoke about the fact that by 2022 there will be situations that will cause armed conflict in several countries. But Nostradamus emphasized that after 2041 the world will change, there will never be wars again. People would learn to solve problems peacefully. There were prophecies of a possible global war. It could happen in the time period between 2022 to 2041. During the same period, countries everywhere will be shaken by regional armed conflicts. France in particular will suffer from them. The state will be actively populated by Muslim immigrants. Soon the crowd of refugees, the astrologer predicts, will begin to advance their rules and way of life, leading to a clash with the native French. Tensions will arise between the United States and China, and the struggle will be over political influence on the world stage. The Russian Federation will become an arbitrator, an observing party. 7. Climate Change and Natural Disasters 2022. With his writings, the French seer provided a vast field of work for scholars around the world. Most of those who have studied his predictions tend to believe that the accuracy of Nostradamus' prophecies is about 80%. However, each expert has his own interpretation of the astrologer's sayings. Along with other famous soothsayers who came before and after him, Nostradamus wrote a lot about changing climatic conditions. Nostradamus' predictions for 2022 for the world speak of global warming, which will provoke a rapid melting of glaciers. People from the north will have to leave their homes in search of the most suitable regions for life. Russia and Europe will not be spared, the astrologer assures us. They also will be confronted with a pelting heat wave that will cause fires. Fire will destroy more half of woods on a planet, and smoke and smog will hide from people the sun with the moon. Fires will be replaced by multi-day showers, which will cause flooding of cities. Floods will literally demolish settlements from the face of the earth. Especially Australia and Oceania will suffer from natural cataclysm. 8. The world economy in 2022. As for the economic situation on the planet, it will begin to stabilize by 2022. That is how most experts decipher the astrologer's quatrains. The Russian Federation will improve and strengthen its position on the world stage. Even the large number of immigrants who come to the country will not interfere with this. The country is predicted to experience a rise in living standards, improvements in all segments of the population, and a decrease in unemployment. Against the background of the pandemic and mass quarantine, new ways of earning a living will arise. People will be increasingly attracted to the opportunity to work without leaving the walls of their homes. Many would give up living in densely populated cities in favor of the countryside. People will return to their roots, to farming and agriculture. 9. What awaits Ukraine in 2022? The past few years have not been the calmest for Ukraine, to put it mildly. Emotionally, as well as economically. Not surprisingly, literally everyone in the country wonders what 2022 has in store for Ukraine. Not so long ago when the press began discussing the news that in the near future Ukrainians are waiting for an increase in income and social benefits, and even low prices for utilities and food. The whole forecast is related to the fact that the economy should show serious growth with a real increase in the level of income of the population. At least this is the information contained in the forecast of social and economic development of Ukraine, which is planned for the period of 2022 to 2024. If we make a general conclusion, we can say that in general 2022 is planned for a relatively calm situation. Life will become more stable and less stressful, which concerns both the political and economic spheres. No war is expected, and generalized predictions suggest that the country is entering a new period of its development, which will be followed by something more interesting. Our planet is going through a profound cycle where people are being forced to evaluate their attachments and focus on ego, power, and material wants. David Korten, former professor of Harvard Business School, and author Joanna Macy described this period of history as the Great Turning. Korten saw our world on the verge of converging crises, including climate change, corporate control, domination through violence, chauvinism, and a financial crisis caused by an unbalanced global economy. This will precipitate major changes to the current economic and social structure. This perfect storm is creating a massive shift in consciousness and an opportunity for the emergence of an Earth community based on sustainable, just, and caring communities that incorporate the values of mutual responsibility and accountability. 2021 and 2022 promise to be a breakthrough time for our country and the world. The human spirit is resilient. We will rebound from this disaster as we have many times before. We always try to see a silver lining in the chaos. Rebirth is possible. The seeds of revolution are being awakened to a realization of what can emerge from the ashes of destruction and profound loss. As we have said before, this is a critical juncture in history for humans. The ecological crisis and depletion of resources globally is forcing us toward a new way of being. It is up to each of us to take responsibility and do our part, however small, to heal the planet. Painful challenges serve as a wake-up call to appreciate that we have more courage and compassion than we thought. We can choose to unite with others in a powerful wave of action to create positive, even revolutionary change in our world. The new year is a fresh start, a new opportunity to heal our families, our relationships, and our country. Let's be more open, more giving.